Hello everyone. I just wanted to welcome everyone to the virtual open week. My name's Jasmine Ferrari. I'm a course advisor here at West Perth in Australia, which is pretty amazing. In the virtual open week, we'll be sharing some insights into EIT, and you'll hear from our lecturers as well as our amazing student ambassadors for the year 2025. Now, just to move over, please note the slide in front of you. Just go over the slide that is up on your screen today. This is the notification and sounds slide. Please follow the instructions as they will then minimize the amount of noise that will come through whilst in this session. You can turn them on, of course, once the session has concluded, and please ensure to utilize the question and answer section to ask any questions. Today's session, just one moment, sorry. Today's session will be going through why engineering and why EIT. It will be presented by the Dean of Engineering, Dr. Steve Mackay, and our Deputy Dean, Indumathi V, as well as a 2025 Student Ambassador, Gamuchirai. They will be presenting some information regarding the institution as well as just general information, which is fantastic. We really hope you enjoy this session and it is valuable to you. Now, some common questions regarding EIT. This session particularly, please note that you will receive a copy of the slides as well as the recording of the session within the next 2 business days via email. Please ensure to check your junk folder as well. Regarding the certificate of attendance, there will be a link and a QR code to a short survey provided at the end of this session, in which you need to complete this to receive the certificate. Once completed, we'll endeavour to send the certificate within the next 2 business days. In addition, you can enter into a competition to win a prize. Further information will be provided at the end of this session. I'll just take a few moments to tell you a little bit about EIT. We are a world-class Australian accredited education provider. Our vocational programs and higher education degrees are registered and accredited by the Australian government. We have programs that are also recognised under 3 international engineering accords. Our engineering qualifications are recognised under 3 major international accords, giving graduates global mobility and credibility. Engineering specialists. EIT is one of the few institutions in the world that solely focuses on just engineering. We offer full spectrum qualifications, professional certificates, all the way up to a doctorate of engineering. Industry experienced lecturers. Our lecturers are practicing engineers and subject matter experts. Thanks to our advanced delivery technologies, we source talent globally, bringing real-world insights directly to our students. Industry-oriented programs. Every program is designed in collaboration with industry professionals. Our curriculum evolves with technology, ensuring graduates are equipped with the latest skills employers demand. Unique delivery model. We combine live interactive webinars with hands-on learning tools, remote laboratories, simulation software, and practical workshops. Students are supported by expert lecturers and dedicated learning support officers throughout the journey. The affiliated colleges, ECT and ECST. ECT delivers interactive and online UK recognised qualifications. ECST delivers South African accredited qualifications on campus. Both ECT and ECST are committed to providing students with world-class education where they acquire the knowledge and skills that are applicable and valued in industry. EIT was recognised with the prestigious International Education Award at the 62nd Australian Export Awards, highlighting its excellence in global education and training. This achievement underscores EIT's growing international influences. Steve, and Indu, please take control of the slides and go through your presentation. Thank you so much. I'll see you at the end.
Thank you so much, Jasmine, and hopefully you can all hear us. Please text in the box if you can hear us. Wonderful people out there.
I can hear you, Steve.
Just excellent, and hopefully our happy team there, all good. Thanks, Leah. Okay, so I'm going to say a few words, and then Indu's going to be driving the presentation. And I just want to summarize before we go any further, this is all about you. And unfortunately, not only about academia, but about jobs. So hopefully we can get that message across. So I'm passionate about engineering education. It's my love. I'm very into learning new things every day. I'm a fairly old dog, so it takes a lot longer to learn things, but definitely it is one of my passions in life. And industry, jobs, online, and the student is sovereign. You are sovereign in everything we do. And at the end of the day, every institution, every college will be measured on one thing only. Did the students get a better job? And that's what matters. So without any further ado, I'll pass on to my colleague, Indu.
Thank you, Steve. Hi, everyone. Hopefully you all can hear me. Now, while I'm talking about a little bit about myself, it'll be great to see, perhaps you can put your location where you're joining us from. I'm joining here from Perth, Western Australia. I'm a chartered engineer, and I've been in the education industry and engineering industry for over 20 years now. My passion is to make sure that the quality of education that I provide to students are, it's about being industry ready, and that students feel engaged in their learning and, find it valuable at the end. So my job involves a lot of accreditation work, and we make sure that we've got course and industry advisory committee providing us input into our courses. So just to go through in terms of, I think we deliver education in a different format, especially the engineering education. And one of the things I think people can see, and I think you're all experiencing at this point, is the rapid technological advancement that keeps happening. I mean, the industry is changing at a rapid pace, and our focus is to make sure that our courses are always aligned, meeting the industry demands, so that when you graduate from our programs, you have the practical hands-on skills. So traditional programs often focus on theory, but for us, the main focus is having practical application, things that you can apply in your jobs. If you're working in a job, you will be solving what you're going through from what you're learning in the classroom. We are very flexible. We make sure that students from any walks of life, whether they're working professionals, whether they are in a different part of the world, they're able to access high quality education. And we are making sure that you are job ready from day one. So there'll be a lot of things that you will see that happens in the classroom, which helps you gain all these skills from presentation skills, from communication skills, as well as the technical skills that you required in your day-to-day life. So our mission is to empower engineers worldwide, with practical job relevant learning, and that you can see through, the alumni cohort of alumni we have around 160 different countries. And again, students joining us from 160 different countries, from technicians all the way to professional engineers who are doing jobs day in and day out. We have modern education system. I'll go through a little bit more about our unique delivery model, which helps that flexible online delivery side. And I know a lot of you will probably think about how exactly are we providing the practical hands-on skills in an online environment. But studying online is at EIT, we have a unique delivery methodology. You will go through live interactive sessions, kind of like we are currently doing, but with more interaction because it'll be a classroom environment with 20 students, 25 students in the classroom. You can ask your lecturers questions, any problems from the pre-recorded lectures that you have listened to, any reading materials you've gone through, or any industry problems that you've come across. So we have a dedicated pool of international expert lecturers from the industry. And the key thing here is that we don't rely on just a specific location and a pool of talent from that location. We are able to bring in lecturers and experts from around the world to provide you with a high quality education that you deserve. And with the global industry experts, what you get is a global view of what's happening in the industry, as well as solutions that you may not have thought about, because your different lecturers will bring different solutions from their part of the world. Added to that will be your learning support officers. You would have dedicated learning support officers, which is, again, as Steve calls it, our secret weapon. They are there to provide you and guide you through your educational journey, making sure when you need support, you are able to reach out to your dedicated learning support officers and get the assistance that you need as well. I might actually pass it over to Steve to talk about our remote and virtual laboratories for a bit.
Yeah, thanks, Indu's really summarized it. I mean, at the end of the day, probably the most important thing in your life is this little device here, which is everywhere. So we believe that this and your computer means you can access equipment from all over the world. So the days of having a bit of equipment where you're actually using your hands is only one aspect of engineering. Today, everything can be impacted, contacted, worked with online through the Internet of Things. So we're at a great time of human history where you can access equipment from all over the world. And as Indu says, the remote virtual laboratories that we have, I mean, today I was teaching, and of course I was talking about a lab where they use National Instruments equipment, where they oscilloscope, signal generator, and of course we're analyzing the basic circuits that you'd use, and the students in my class can access 24/7. Obviously, there's always a rush right at the end, the hour before the submission, everyone wants to get onto the labs, but it is a very, very flexible model. So it is very a very thing of the 21st century. So, and I think I'll pass back to Indu, the online teaching methodology with the labs. Over to you,
Thanks, Steve.
Indu.
Yeah, so we have our in-house Electromeet software where you can actually go in and book your labs that you want to access, the different software or hardware which are connected via Internet of Things, as well as you can see them via webcam. And what happens is that, say, for example, you're working in the industry and you've just finished your 12-hour shift, you've got some time before you want to hit the bed. You can book the laboratories, work on experiments. It doesn't matter whether you break them, because it's, we are here to support from this end to make sure that things are up and running again. But you have access to it 24/7. No matter what time of the day, you can log in and use the software and hardware and enhance your skills. And again, the software and hardware that are accessible to you is not just isolated to what you are learning in your program. As an example, let's say if you're doing industrial automation, beyond PLCs that you can access, you can actually go and access MATLAB, for example, or you can go and access AutoCAD. So the software are open to everyone. It's not discipline specific. And if you are extra motivated, you have all the resources, both with our software as well as our e-library, where again you have access to multiple different journals as well as textbooks. And the sky is the limit. It's up to you to go and utilize the resources. One of the main thing, and the way we deliver everything fully online, helps you to learn from anywhere and connect from anywhere. So you can access things via your mobile phones or your laptops. Now, mobile phones, certain things can be limited. Of course, you can't run full experiments with your mobile phone. So we highly recommend that you have a laptop to study from. But if you want to listen to a webinar while you're on the train, as an example, while you're commuting, then you can just simply listen to from any mobile device. And it allows you to be access different parts of your learning throughout your day without having to be specifically, in front of a specific classroom 9 to 5. It's very flexible, kind of tailored around your day. Multiple time zone supports are available as well, and there are sometimes, depending on where you are, there will be multiple delivery of your webinars that you can choose to engage from. So I've already talked about the laboratories and the virtual laboratories as well as the library. You also have a strong alumni network from different continents, and I think that is one of the the best things for me when I'm looking at some of the classrooms and when I teach students is that, and you can see in this chat as well, people are from different parts of the world, from Philippines, from Zambia, from Kenya, from Australia. What you get is that global perspective. You work on group projects that are from different parts of the world as well, teams from different parts of the world. And that gives you not only different view of what you're learning, different viewpoints, but also helps you form lifelong connections. And we know that some of these connections that we go through in life during our studies are one of the longest lasting ones. You also have access beyond your typical lectures and tutorials. You also will be often given, we'll send it through announcements, Moodle announcements, virtual guest lectures, as well as sometimes we have technical webinars as well, which you have access to. And I would suggest that, when these things come up, please make time and an opportunity to attend these, because they are really valuable to attend and make sure you understand what's going on currently in the industry. There's quite a few of our programs that we have are also accredited under the Dublin, Sydney, and Washington Accord. Jasmine went through this in the beginning of the presentation. What these accords? These accords are under the International Engineering Alliance, and here in Australia we have this accreditation via Engineers Australia. Now, what these accredited programs allows you is the global mobility. So you can work from any part of the world and your qualifications are recognized. Now, you do have to go and check where the mutual recognitions are for these different accords. So if you search under the International Engineering Alliance website, it will show you, where the qualifications are under mutual recognition. You can study full-time or part-time as well. Again, it's around the flexibility side of things. And we also have multiple entry points, which I will discuss a little bit further. And last but not least, if you have work experience or other certifications that you have done, you do have pathways for recognition of prior learning that we can look at. But again, it will all depends on the evidence that you put forward as well. I'll pass the next couple of slides to Steve.
Thanks, Indu. Indu's done a really great explanation here. I just want to add, we also get a question from our Apple aficionados. Can I log into your labs with Apple? Well, yes, that's the brilliant thing about the software. It is very easy to log into the remote labs, the presentations with any computer. Well, virtually anyone. I'm sure there's something out there which is obscure, but certainly you can log in with Apple and do the experiments with different software, which is only, should we say, familiar to Microsoft Windows. So there's no problems there at all. And the other point I just want to mention quickly now is obviously we have part-time and full-time, but typically, and Indu may correct me here, but typically we feel about 15 hours a week is the maximum for anyone working in industry. So 15-hour study connections is probably about the happy time to connect to do our program. So if you try and do 25, 30 hours a week, it's going to end in tears. So we always suggest take it easy on yourself, gradually build up over time. And as Andrew says, the other issue is, of course, we've got alumni from 160 countries around the world. We're 120 probably today. At any time, there's about 6,000 students doing our programs from certificates all the way up to doctoral degrees. And Indu was saying, she's quite fired up about the number of students that are doing our doctoral programs, far more than we ever anticipated, actually. And it's really fantastic. About 80 to 100 students, I think, Indu. It's about.
Yep.
Which is really fabulous to see, because that's real research. So just want to spend a few seconds talking about this lifelong learning. And I was listening to a presentation last night, and it was one of the very big universities in the UK, Oxford, and they said, look, there's a problem here. A degree today or a qualification probably has 3 or 4 year shelf life because the technology is changing so fast, as Indu says. So it's all about lifelong learning. Keep yourself skilled all the time. It doesn't mean doing another diploma or degree. It could mean just learning ad hoc from YouTube, but you've got to keep yourself going. And we have a framework in which we obviously have additional courses, but it is a long journey, and you've got to keep going until, dare I say, the Grim Reaper taps you on the shoulder. And there's a whole heap of different qualifications here you can do, and this is the whole journey that we have. Starting off with diplomas. Over to you, Indu.
Thanks, Steve. As Steve mentioned, we do have a whole pathway students can take from. And we've had students, for example, who already have a doctoral degree come and do a diploma or an advanced diploma because they want to enhance their practical knowledge in a specific discipline or a field. But at EIT, you have different pathways. You may want to look at our entry requirements for the pathways for specific courses. The first one I'll highlight is this one. This one is a non-accredited professional certificate of competency. It's a 3-month non-accredited course, very short course. But what it helps you do is upskill on any specific areas of expertise. So quite often, even our graduates, sometimes what they do is, let's say they've done an electrical engineering bachelor degree. They might come and do a professional certificate of competency in PLC or instrumentation so that they have the added skills to be more employable in the industry. They have more broad set of skills. They're always evolving. The topics are always evolving. Our catalog is always changing with these, and we're also going to introduce a 6-week course instead of a 12-week course. So 3 months is 12 weeks. We're also looking at introducing a 6-week course that, again, more shorter but more targeted training so that people can upskill without having to spend lots of time as well. But as Steve said, with lifelong learning, it's about your motivation, your self-drive to keep up to date with what's going on in the industry, even little bits of snippets of, like watching YouTube or reading an article, learning a little bit more in depth about a topic, or trying to resolve a problem that's already been solved, sometimes gives you insight and skills that you require. But in terms of accredited programs, we have the diploma programs, which are 12-month courses. Under the diploma, we have the Diploma of Leadership and Management. In the advanced diploma category, we've got quite a range of topics here, and they are usually about 18 to 24 months. And 5 of our advanced diplomas are also accredited under the Dublin Accord. We then also have undergraduate certificates, which are 6-month courses. This is, if you want to taste, what a bachelor degree looks like, whether you want to decide on a specific discipline of bachelor degree, for example, these are really good to kind of do a taster. And you will get full credits for the 6 month that you spend or 4-unit equivalent that you spend here. If you fully successfully complete and you continue into a bachelor's, you will get credit articulation too. Our Bachelor of Science program are 3-year full-time program, or depending on what you do part-time. Just to take note, these are Bachelor of Science, and then you have your specific discipline that you then major in. 3 years full-time, and these are accredited under a Sydney Accord. From there, you can move up to a graduate certificate. And again, this is again, if you are not sure of committing into a master's straight away, you can try upskilling yourself slowly, which is, you do a 6-month graduate certificate. So these are postgraduate level courses, postgraduate level units, where you do 4 units at a time to get a graduate certificate. From there, you have a pathway to move into a graduate diploma and then into a master's. Now, of course, from a bachelor, you can also go directly into master's as well. There's no stopping you there. But if people want to take it step by step, then they do have the pathway of doing a grad cert, grad dip, and a master's. And of course, to top it all up, if you want to be known as the best in your field, you can obviously undertake a Doctor of Engineering, where again, this is about practical applied professional doctorate degree, and it's not a PhD. So we don't do blue sky thinking sort of thing. It's more coursework plus research, where it's about your industry-based projects that we target on. And again, I would suggest that if you want to know more of our Doctor of Engineering, we do have a session later this week on Thursday. Please do join that and you'll get more information and specific details on that. Now, if there are any questions, please do put your questions on the chat bot and we will answer them towards the end of the session too. Now, I want to spend a couple of minutes on our learning support officers. I think we mentioned this earlier a little bit. So our learning support officers, just to be clear, are in addition to the academic supports, in addition to your lecturers and instructors. So, it's not that they are just one support, but you have the additional support. Your learning support officers guide you all the way from your onboarding. Once you've enrolled, from your orientations, you will see them all the way to your graduation. And quite a lot of our students have, said how important the learning support officers have been through their learning journey to make sure students are keeping up to date with their what do you call it, assessments, and also trying to complete. Learning support officers are, a lending ear. You want to have a chat with them. You will have any issues. You want additional support. They are your first port of call. Now, you might still wonder if I've not already convinced you why you should choose EIT. There are a few other reasons. Students have rated us as a top #1 provider for overall satisfaction in the postgraduate engineering programs. And these are taken from our QILT survey, Quality Indicator for Learning and Teaching survey, that is conducted across all Australian universities and higher education providers. And we have been chosen as the #1. And similarly, we are the #1 for graduates in full-time employment in the undergrad engineering programs. And we are among the top 3 for the quality of educational experience for undergrad programs and top 3 for student support in the postgrad engineering programs as well. So again, we have shown our commitment of what we stand for, which is student outcomes, student quality, and good educational outcomes. And again, this gives you a good idea from, it's from all the universities and higher education providers in Australia. This is where we stand. Accreditation wise, we are a registered training organization. That's for our vocational education and training courses. Similarly, for the higher education, we have since 2014, we have the accreditation under TEXA. For students who are looking for fee help, we are a fee help provider since 2017. And for students thinking about coming on campus, we are CRICOS registered as well for international courses. We also have VET student loans. And again, these will all be dependent on whether you qualify for it, but we do have that. And we have the self-accrediting authority status from TEXA, our higher education regulator. And this is for higher education. But what these mean, this particular one and self-accrediting authority, means that the government authority, the regulator, is happy with the quality of systems that we have in place and have given us a self-accrediting status. And I talked about the Dublin, Sydney, and Washington Accords. So these are the 5 advanced diplomas that are fully accredited for online delivery under the Dublin Accord, which means these are recognized directly as at the engineering associate level. And what that means is, say, for example, if you complete a qualification from us, which is Australian based, and you want to work in South Africa, it will be recognized under EXA under the same Dublin Accord level. There are a few different countries in the International Engineering Alliance, so please do have a look at our website for more details. And for bachelor degrees, so we have the 4 Bachelor of Science courses in electrical engineering, mechanical, civil, and industrial automation, accredited for online delivery under the Sydney Accord, as well as delivery at our Perth campus. And this is at the engineering technologist level. And last but not least, our Master of Engineering degrees are accredited under the Washington Accord, which is under the professional engineering status at our Perth campus, online, as well as our Melbourne campus. I'll invite Steve at this point.
Thanks, Indu. Yes, so as Indu has already summarised it, we've got quite a wide range of programs. But the online model, even on campus, really is the critical thing. So the online model is where we believe the future is. But we believe it's got to be interactive and very supportive of students, not just a bunch of videos stuck on a website. So that is really, really critical. And then obviously putting in the labs, simulation software, that really is where the magic occurs. So just a few comments about why I choose EIT. And to be honest with you, we turn away, I think our higher education manager was telling me, we turn away 6 out of every 7 applicants for higher education. So, you know, we're really looking for people that join us as students are going to be successful. So that's the first point I want to make. We don't want your money. We do not want you to come do courses with us if you're going to fail. That is absolutely not the way we work. Our students are absolutely sovereign, and we have to make sure they join us with the opportunity of finishing and gaining their qualification. So I think there's just a few points here I'd like to make. Obviously, internationally endorsed, and having students from 160 countries around the world shows you that there's a lot of connection. A few other points I'll make here before I pass it back to Indu. I would say the other thing which I find really close to my heart, it's presented by engineering professionals from around the world who are working in industry. So, you know, you may say, oh, yeah, you're using people outside Australia or outside the States or the UK because you're looking for cheap labor. No, on the contrary, we're looking for people that are professionals that can deliver a really outstanding experience for students. We don't always get it right, but we do look for people that are working in industry because, as I said at the beginning of this whole session, jobs are what determines the success of a qualification. So that is really, really important. I'll pass it back to Indu to go through, mention some of the other issues.
Yes, I want to highlight the practical, relevant, and industry driven. So as I mentioned before, I get involved in a lot of accreditation work day to day. And one of the biggest things that we are often engaged in is various industry contacts, trying to make sure that they give us industry inputs so that, you know, our students, when they graduate, are ready for what's happening in the industry. Now, what you will see during the course sometimes is that your course slightly changes, gets updated. Perhaps it's a simple software update that we are providing in a particular unit, or a whole unit might be changed, or an elective might be added. The reason behind that is because we are constantly engaging with the industry. They provide us with input of what is not just currently used in the industry, but it's also what is upcoming. So we are usually very ahead of the game. I think we were one of the first providers of hydrogen training in Australia. We are always ahead of the game, looking at what is upcoming and making sure that we are already targeting what the industry needs in the future, not just what it currently needs. This again, I want to emphasize, I think this is sometimes a bit underutilized, especially with a lot of people relying on AI, but we do have an access to a lot of reference and research materials. Please use them. This is like, when you're joining a course and, paying fees, this kind of thing is what adds the value, where you can access, journals and different books. Please use them because that's there for you to use. The learning environment is very supportive. Our lecturers as well as our learning support officers, you can contact them and they will assist you with a lot of things. So, please utilize that. We've talked about lifelong journey, but I also want to talk about that we are committed to women in engineering. We're committed to diversity. So that also showcases from mentor programs that we have, as well as the different scholarships. I know there's a lot of questions about scholarships. Please do visit our scholarship page because again, it's always updated and upcoming. So look at what is available for you. But I think that's all from my end, Jasmine. I think I will hand it over to the next speaker.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for having me. My name is Gamuchirai Diana Swartz, and I am an EIT student ambassador. So I am currently in New Zealand managing control systems related projects for the dairy industry. Thank you. I started in the mineral processing industry and I studied with EIT for 2 years. I'm coming to South Africa to graduate in October. Just checking if I can, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you
So
should be able to take control if you wanted. Yeah.
yes, thank you, I can. So I chose to study with EIT just coming from the professionals that I met along the way. I've come across a lot of engineers within the mining industry specifically who studied with EIT. At this point, I've actually come across some people in New Zealand who are actively studying with EIT or have studied with EIT. And the biggest difference that I saw was the level of knowledge that people had in the industrial automation area. And for me, that told me that this would be the right direction to go. So just looking at my experience so far, realistically, everyone that I've met has been amazing and extremely knowledgeable. So not only the lecturers, but the LSOs as well, and all the people that you meet along the way. Every step of the way, when I encountered any issues, I knew that I could reliably talk to someone who would be able to help me. When it came to my thesis, CCPO was amazing, helping me to resolve issues that I had at the time. And now that I actually look back at my course material, I find that it's actually been quite good to reference to in my professional industry. So the main things that stood out with me when I was looking at EIT were the engineers that I was talking to. I mean, the reality is that every university can broadcast what they're able to do, but when you meet people whose lives and experiences have been changed by a certain program that they have taken, and when they point back to it, I mean, it speaks volumes. A lot of the people, some of the people I'd met before they started studying with EIT, and as they studied with EIT, you could see the difference in what they were learning. And man, even with me, once I got to a point where I was working through the course material, everything that I was encountering in the field looked different. So when Dr. Mackay talks about it being a very practical practical way to study, this is what I encountered. Because looking at the bachelor's that I received, it was a lot of theoretical study and having to learn on the job, whereas with the master's, it was actively applying concepts that I'd learned during my studies to the work that I was doing. So how would I describe the support I've received? I can't describe it. It's been really awesome. It's been amazing people who are always willing to lend a listening ear. They're always people as opposed to being, I guess, scary representations of institutes. So the greatest part has been talking to people who are actually very relatable, who treat you like a person, like-minded people who are always willing to listen to you. The most valuable thing that I've learned during my time at EIT is the intersection of industrial automation and machine learning. I'm currently working in the dairy sector, and the margins in dairy are never that big. So looking at what I currently have and how I've been able to apply it to the work that I've been doing has been invaluable. I'm able to make some critical contributions to the work that I'm doing, to my teams. I'm able to be very hands-on to actually bring value to the table. And I don't believe that I would have been able to do it if I hadn't invested the time in myself. The industrial automation sector is always highly evolving, and if you don't upskill yourself, you become redundant. Embarking on the Master of Engineering course, that was actually a very important toolkit that I added, and that differentiated me from the rest of the people, I believe, in my sector. So I've been applying different concepts at this point, and I'm advancing myself. I've recently received my PMP. I got my CMSE certification around the time when I was working on safety instrumented systems as well at EIT, which really helped. So there were many parallels that I found that actually helped me in my professional career, and many concepts that I ended up I could reinforce just purely based on the courses that I was working on. So I would definitely recommend other students to study with EIT, again, based on how much it's boosted my career, on the experiences that I've received, and also how I can now look at the industry in a different light, see areas of improvement as opposed to just taking the course at face value. You know, look at the feedback, look at data outside of just being data, because there are many applications of big data within industry. So if you're definitely looking for a way to upskill yourself, if you're looking for a way to add value to the teams that you are a part of, then I would definitely recommend EIT. Thank you.
Well, I just want to thank you, Diana. That is quite remarkable, your presentation. Very grateful for you jumping in there. I know it's getting late in the afternoon or at night, so I really appreciate you joining us. Yeah, and amazing. You've got your environment from all over the world, and you've ended up in New Zealand, well, for the moment, I might add. Your research and the work you're doing in machine learning and automation definitely is a huge growth area and quite risky as well. So it's really good that you're in there. So I think I'm very grateful for you jumping in. I don't know, Indu has any comments to make.
No, I think, yeah, it's one of our model students, I would say, keeping up to date with what's going on in the industry and constantly learning. So I was very pleased to hear your experience as well as your personal journey. I think, yeah, your motivation. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do after your master's. Back to you, Jasmine.
Now, before you go back to Jasmine, Indu, I just want to also say that doctorate often is people always think it is a qualification, but just bear in mind, if you really want to hypercharge your career and you've got that energy and that fascination for learning new things, you may find a doctorate is a really good place to design new technologies, as well as adding to your career and becoming one of the experts in the world. So don't just think of a doctorate as a standalone qualification. It could be an amazing career booster as well. So, and that's how Indu has been driving the doctorate program. It is quite incredible, the students that are doing the program and the work they're doing. So it's definitely a different to a traditional PhD where you often cast out into the wilderness and left to your own devices, and then after a few years you come back. But we really are keenly supportive there. Anyway, over to you, Jasmine, for question time, I guess.
I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone who's joined us for this session. As previously mentioned, you can enter to win a prize. As you can see on the screen, it is 2,000 USD and then 10 runner-ups, which is a total of 100 USD each as well. I will share a link later on. And then just a link for attendance. I actually believe we received any questions in the Q&A section, unfortunately.
Well, let's ask now for any questions, Jasmine. Let's ask anyone out there with questions.
Yes.
We've had a few questions. We've had a few questions that have been floating through. There's obviously a lot of interest in scholarships, and certainly we provide a huge number of scholarships, and that's part of our mission. Unfortunately, we can't give everyone a scholarship. So if you are cash strapped or financially really tough, it is a tough ask, and there are other ways to get around that: loans, or get a sponsor from someone, or a sponsor from your work if you are working in industry. So definitely. So we've got some questions here, I think. Can we pull them out besides scholarships? There's one here. How can I access a PLC course and studying chemical engineering? We've got certificate courses in PLCs, so you can do those if you look online under professional certificates. Gladson. There's a question there about searching for jobs outside your country. I would say that these qualifications are international. Unfortunately, again, we can't give you visas, much as I'd love to get people, give them a visa and say, hey, come to Australia or England or South Africa or the States. Unfortunately, there's no guarantees of visas anyway. So that's a totally different game you've got to play there. Now, obviously, having an international qualification can help, but we do not provide any guarantees visa-wise or anything. That's not part of where we travel, unfortunately. I don't know if Indu wants to say a few words there.
Yeah, I mean, having an Australian qualification, especially the ones that are accredited under one of the International Engineering Alliance, certainly helps with if you want to look for a job or migrate. But as Steve said, we can't actually guarantee any of that. So it's again, it will be dependent on your profile, your merits, and everything else that is personal. So we can't guarantee that.
Yeah,
I've also put some links to the scholarship page as well as the professional certificate for the PLC for Gladson as well.
Yeah, so you'll find all the details and scholarships there. As I said, if you're short of cash, honestly, don't study unless you've got a way of paying for the course. It's not worth doing that. Look for innovative ways of getting the cash or the payment. And unfortunately, there's not a presentation about loans here, but there are ways to get it. You will get a return, I would say, but that's only something that you can judge, and that's a aspect that you have to look at yourselves. We have a very, we believe our programs are very affordable, but obviously that's easy for us to say. But we have to be a sustainable college, obviously, to make things work and to invest in our systems, software, and people. So it's quite critical. There was a comment about the PLC course. Now, interesting enough, we had a guy I was quite amused by, actually. He's, in fact, the professional certificates that we offer are not accredited courses, but because they're presented by us, often the students graduate with those professional certificates, if I can use the word graduate. And we had one guy who's had a bachelor of engineering degree from another university, did our 3-month certificate in PLCs and got a job very quickly and in a very competitive market, I might add, and wrote us, thank you very much. We had another guy did he was selling pizzas and highly motivated, did our professional certificate in mechanical engineering. So I said, really, you really do need to do a full 2-year diploma. He said, no, I got a job with that. But again, those are outlier cases. It is really worthwhile doing a long study of mechanical engineering or electrical engineering over a few years to get that necessary experience. As Indu remarked, we do have people that have done PhDs or advanced degrees at universities come and do one of our advanced diplomas because they say, hey, I need some practical know-how, and this gives me that background. So it's all a question of horses for courses, I suppose. I don't have any other comments there. Leah, any other outstanding questions?
It's all good for now, Steve.
No, thanks. And we've got a comment there from Nizani Diogeni. It's amazing with you, it's important to get better skills for engineering empowerment. Yep, absolutely. We run a lot, one of our missions is providing free sessions, seminars from real practicing professionals, and we do that all the time. It's part of our mission, and we do that freely with great joy. And it's wonderful to be with people like yourselves. So thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful being there, talking about learning, and believe me, all of us are learning as well. None of us are in one spot. We're always constantly learning. There's a question there from Andrea Bogoslavsky. What is the minimum certificate requirement to get instrument tech offshore? Yeah, that's a very good question, Andrea. It depends country to country. I mean, in Australia, to become an instrument tech, you really need to do a trade as an electrician, and then you do a Cert 4 in instrument tech, and then you get a job. So it varies. We find that our advanced diploma in industrial automation often gives that background. It depends on the employer. It definitely gives a very good background, but it really depends from country to country, Andrea. Unfortunately, it's very hard to generalize anything like that. So just for everyone's purposes, there's the various grades you've got a trade or artisan, as they call it in South Africa, a trade, which is a certificate 3, and then you get a Cert 4, and then we tend to focus on advanced diplomas. So you get advanced diplomas, and then bachelor degree, master degree, and doctorate. And I just want to again say, as Indu alluded to, our bachelor degrees are 3 years, which means that you finish as a technologist, which we believe is very adequate for most jobs on site in mining. If you want to become a professional chartered professional engineer, you really need to go one step further, do either a 1 or 2 year master degree after that to get that professional status if you want to go that far. It's up to you. But a 3-year bachelor degree gives you a pretty good innings. There are universities that offer this. There's Melbourne University that offers a 3+2 model, and they have a 3-year bachelor degree and then a 2-year master degree, and you have to do the whole lot, 5 years. So that's really it. I'm dominating the discussion at the moment, Indu, so please forgive me. You can jump in on this. There's another guy there, courses online, or we have online and on-campus courses. On-campus in Perth for bachelors and masters, masters in Melbourne, and masters in Brisbane. There's some details, Brisbane, which we should provide you with if you are interested there. And then we've got online courses through our other institutions around the world, but EIT is the bigger one.
Apologies.
Do you want to talk a bit?
There has been a question in the Q&A section. Sorry. Thank you.
Just want to add what Steve said. Yeah, we do have both online and on campus, depending on what level of course you're looking for. And as Steve mentioned as well, we do have online courses via our UK College Engineering College of Technology, as well as upcoming in ECST as well. The other question I think there is asking if you're holding an associate degree in architecture, am I apply and get scholarship? I think again, Tabani, it will depend on what course you're applying for on scholarship. The conditions of the scholarships are in each of the different scholarships. So please reach out to perhaps one of our course advisors to discuss, which course you're looking for as well. If there's any other questions, happy to answer. But if not, there are quite a few other sessions we are running specifically to different courses and programs, as well as talking about different support that we provide. So please do reach out or join one of those programs to ask more in detail. I'm trying to see what that question is.
There's a question about Botswana. So we've opened an office in Botswana, you're quite right. So we're setting up as a learning centre, and we'll be running sessions there, Kelvin, starting a bit more aggressively, where we're looking for local presenters, and we'll be presenting at the centre, and that will gradually ramp up. But you can do your online short courses online anyway. But certainly we will be putting more effort into work or presentations, labs with real people, not just online in Gaborone, sorry.
I think the other one is on the Master of Engineering in Risk, Safety and Reliability. So currently we're not offering the master degrees because there's not been enough students undertaking that program, but the popular one in that stream is our graduate certificate in risk, safety and reliability and our graduate diploma. So I would recommend. So they are all part of the master degree, but they are nested qualifications. So perhaps you might want to look at our graduate certificate and our graduate diploma, and then if you have enough students interested in the masters, we will be putting up the masters as well. The other question is about the scholarship. Again, Judith, please look at our scholarship page. We don't have any specific scholarship for Lesotho, but we have multiple different scholarships for both females and males. And yeah, please look at our scholarship page to see which one will be most suitable for you.
There's a interesting that they offer associate degrees in Eswatini, Indu. Interesting. I never thought there'd be many. I don't think I run associate degrees in South Africa at all, but interesting at Eswatini. That's an interesting one. We've got an associate degree in electrical engineering that we will launch late this year, next year, but certainly it's very unusual for associate degrees outside Australia and America. Certainly not in the UK. But there's a good question there from Gabriel Amarjola, which is the old chestnut. Unfortunately, Gabriel, your HND is basically almost a bachelor degree. So it's quite hard to go straight from that to a master degree. And Indu will give you chapter and verse on that. I suppose the traditional way is, the reason why we can't go straight from a diploma to a master degree is because our courses, fortunately or unfortunately, are accredited by Engineers Australia. So we have rigid requirements and we can't compromise. And that means that we have a bachelor degree as the entry to a master degree. So anything different to that is very hard to achieve. But you could probably if you're interested in proceeding further, we could probably put it through to our committee and they will look at RPL.
Yeah, so if you've got HND but lots of industry experience, then you potentially could be looking at a pathway. But what we generally need to do is to actually, we can't guarantee whether your program at the end will be recognized under the Washington Accord because you haven't completed the bachelor level. But having said that, it may be the good idea to try and apply for a graduate certificate in civil or a graduate diploma in civil, because that will allow you perhaps an entry, and then if you're successful, continue on to the master's. Now, the graduate certificate and graduate diploma are nested qualifications, so you're not going to lose time or effort. It's just a pathway for us to make sure that you are able to cope with the course content, because it's a higher level than a bachelor degree. Now, even with your HND, we do have to look at your application transcript to see what units you've completed to make sure that you've got the fundamentals to be able to undertake a master degree level program. So best would be to reach out to our course advisors and send through your profile, and then we can have a look and have a discussion with you if you need it.
Just want to emphasize again, we are interested. Oh yeah, that's a lot of experience. That's very solid, Gabriel. I just want to emphasize again, we want to make sure that you will pass. So we don't want to take students on that have no chance of passing. So that is really, we want you to be successful. So that is absolutely critical. That's why we want to obviously check out your background first. And as Indu says, if you haven't been studying for some while, doing a grad certificate is also a way. You're still getting credit towards your master's, and you've got a way to go. The master degree in civil engineering, our original accreditation many years ago said students need a very strong mathematics background before they're allowed entry. So it can be a challenging program, but it's a master civil and structural. So we want to make sure when you finish our degree, you don't have any problems with designing a bridge or a structure which will not collapse. So we want to make sure you are top of the WASA. Yeah, so I don't know, there's a few other questions there, 9 years. Yep. I would ask my question. I'm in Rwanda. I'm 22 years old, but I want to be ambassador of EIT in Rwanda. We've actually got a few students from Rwanda, Ndizani. What I can do, if you're an undergrad person, you can enroll in the master if we have a look at your undergrad degree. Second question is Michael Kishe. I have a Bachelor of Technology in Electrical. Can I proceed to master's? Yes. So we have 3 years and 4-year programs entry to a master's. We allow both. So you should be able to, but again, if you've got any doubts, send your details through, your transcripts, and then we'll give you a professional opinion. Unfortunately, there are bachelor degrees around the world which may not be, should we say, up to the standards required. But I'm sure yours isn't one of those. I think we're almost at the end of the session, Indu, with time.
Same with the time, yeah.
Yeah. So
I think there are other sessions going on. So, yeah, Jasmine, if you want to wrap up.
Absolutely. There are many different ways to contact us, as you can see on the screen. Please don't be a stranger, and thank you all for coming in today. All right, bye.
Thank you very much, everyone. I really appreciate you all joining us and asking awkward questions. That's all about what we want. We want to encourage critical thinking. So thank you so much for joining us, and spread the word. We're here for you. That you, Indu.
Thanks, everyone. And yeah, we are running this session again tomorrow. So if any of your colleagues or friends missed out, please do ask them to join that session. But there are quite a few sessions this week, so please do tune in and join us in those sessions. Thank you.
Happy days. Thanks so much, everyone. Thanks, Jasmine, for running the session, and Leah, choreograph.
Thank you for your patience. All right, I guess.
Thank you. Yeah.